So where did the term unicorn come from?
Unicorns came when I first started Assistantly, like back in 2020. I was trying to find like a differentiator, and like I always thought, like, you know, when I think of sports teams, I think of like mascots and like avatars and all that kind of stuff. And I was thinking of like what type of mascot, like animal, creature, fake, real, can like apply to like offshore talent and what Assistantly does. And like, you know, Joyce, our CMO, and I were always talking about like having people work in their like zone of genius, and people that are like highly skilled, like very unique specialists. And then when I was like thinking about that type of like team member, I was thinking of like, okay, like, well, unicorns is great because like unicorn, when I think of unicorn, I think of like rare, super unique breed that like mystical, you can't find them, magical, right? And then I was like thinking about it because like a lot of the positions that were coming in were like executive assistant and operations, but then like we started getting like some like niche type roles, like rarely like really tool or software specific, or just like role specific or industry specific. And I was like, man, these people are looking for unicorns. And I was like, oh, wait, these people are looking for unicorns. Like, that's like really interesting. So then like, I remember when we did the first website, like our tagline was like, we find unicorns. And like to this day, like people are like, oh, like go to Lathe or go to Assistantly, like they find unicorns. And it's like such a like brand differentiator, which I like really like always wanted for Assistantly. And it's like professional, but like not serious at the same time. It's like fun. And like, it's not like one of those like black and white businesses where you're like, you go and you're like bored, like looking at like their collateral or their branding. It's like you see like unicorns and you see like mystical and magical and pinks and oranges and all this, like all these different colors. And I wanted people to feel like it was more of like a fun, inclusive brand. And it's just like, it's cool being able to, instead of saying like, you know, team member or like virtual assistant or like executive assistant, it's cool to be like, you know, marketing unicorn or admin unicorn. It kind of like sticks with what we do and like who we find. Cause like, I feel like the people that we find are super like rare and unique, and like you're essentially like headhunting these people. And like, when you look at their overall profile, you're like, wow, ton of experience, really great soft skills, just like really cool people to like communicate with in general, like really great, positive, upbeat attitude. And like, that's who we want for our clients. So like the We Find Unicorns is like something that we've been playing on for a long time. And like, if you ever, obviously like you've seen our pitch decks, and
Yeah.
like we have like emojis and like
Yeah.
unicorns and all that kind of stuff. So I love it. I mean, I think it's like what sets us apart from a lot is just like even like that simple like catchphrase or verbiage. And it's like something to like remember us by. When like, even when you talk to clients and you say, yeah, we'll find you your unicorn, and people will like email back and be like, go find me that unicorn. Or
Unicorn
like,
wranglers.
Unicorn, yeah. Isn't that
Yeah.
Somebody's like, you are like the unicorn wrangler, and that's like fun.
Yeah.
So,
It's now a Slack channel.
yeah. Like we have, yeah. It's like how we use like our internal team, but like also like our, you know, external like communication with clients and prospects and all that kind of stuff. And like when Assistantly first started, it was like, we find unicorns, but it was like blue, black, and white. It was like the brand, like the logo was very different. And then like we had like a realization where like our brand, colors, like everything didn't really mesh with like who we were. And then like Joyce and I were collaborating on the brand, and we were like, we got to put like more infusion of colors and like the pinks and the blues and the greens and the neons and all that kind of stuff. And then also like our logo of like the U, it looks like a smiley face, which is like really cool. So it makes us obviously like we're friendly, which we are friendly. I hope so.
Don't get on our bad side.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, exactly. then it'll be like a
Upside down.
Yeah, upside down face. But like the true meaning behind the logo is like, if you actually look at it, I don't know if I've ever explained it, is it's actually two people interconnected. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh.
So it's kind of like a tilted smiley face. But it's really like two people interconnected, because like that's like a sense of partnership.
Cool.
And like that could be like the client and the team member, or the team member and the client, and like they're like juggling and helping each other out. But then like it also looks like a smiley face. So like
Fun.
it was cool being able to create like that variation of the logo because we went through like different variations, and I'm like, I remember looking at that one, I was like, oh, like that one's cool and like and friendly, and like in our animations it like winks. So yeah, like I love our brand. I think it's fun. I think there's like a lot of like energy behind it,
Oh yeah.
and like even like our doc, our client portal, like
Yeah.
there's like colors flying out, videos in your face.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's just it's fun to like go into, like where if you imagine if we were just like black and white, it's
Yeah,
like
no.
it's not super engaging.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really fun. I feel like too it sets the tone for, how the client experience will go. And it's fun to see somebody, start off on a strategy call and they're so shy or just really reserved and really
Definitely.
closed off. And then once they like go through the whole client experience journey of like bringing on the unicorn and the onboarding and the meet and greet and everything, you start to see them almost absorb the energy. And then
100%.
that's just the environment that we all work in. So
Plus, I think
super
like
fun.
a lot of people on our team, like client surfacing and then like talent surfacing, have like this like fun, bubbly personality, like you or like Emmy or Michaela or Kate or Ace. Like they all have like this like fun, warm like presence, and like people want to feel like that they like can like talk to somebody or like communicate, openly. I think that was like super important when it comes to like client experience and talent experience, is like making sure that people feel like they're heard and like we're listening, and we're like not just providing them with like a person, like we're providing them with like a person plus like the value of like we're here to support you and make sure you're taken care of, and like feel free to like send me an email or give me a call or shoot me a text. And like that's like super important because like even me, I'll take strategy calls, like even that one, like they were super confused of like why are you on the strategy call, and I was like, I mean, I enjoy them. I think they're
Yeah.
fun, and like I love meeting like our clients and our prospective clients because it also helps us like learn of like what we can do to improve. But like I feel like I'm just like one of you guys. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing like there's nothing that like I should be doing differently. Like I'm not just going to be sitting and chilling. Like I like doing prospect calls. I love following up with people. I love piloting things that we can do to improve, whether they're like bomb videos or like a new doc template. So yeah, like I think like what we really like mastered is like our client experience, yes, but like between like our client experience and our tools, like our people and like the way we portray everything, I think it's like it's pretty magical with the way like we execute to our clients.
Yeah.
And then in talking about our unicorns and like our clients and our talent, like what can you tell us about like our matchmaking process with clients and talent?
So I like to refer to the matchmaking process as speed dating when it comes to the meet and greet session. And so when we gather all of the information initially, right, we're gathering everything that this client needs, not only operationally, but really we're trying to assess personalities. And it's so funny, I actually had a call this morning with somebody who is expanding on her own human design business, and she's providing consultations to people to understand more about just who they are as a human and what works for them and what doesn't, and the types of people that they absorb, good energy versus bad energy. And it really reminded me of our process, because when it comes down to your working relationship, your personal relationships, your marriage, anything, it's all about matching your human design and like the makeup of who you are with someone that's compatible.
Totally.
And what we like to assess is, we assess hard skills, of course, because they need to be qualified, but I think soft skills are the most important. I'm such a personality person. Like if you're able to, let your personality shine, whatever that looks like, if you're outgoing, if you're shy, if you're smart, if you're funny, like that is so important in these sessions, because the client, it really wins them over, A, and B, it just shows us who you are and what you're capable of and what you can bring to the table and what you can do for these businesses. And so looking at soft skills and hard skills we've already addressed, like that's why they're being endorsed. So matchmaking those soft skills in the meet and greet session, seeing how our clients interact and synergize with each unicorn. So like as everyone's meeting and like interacting, I'm taking notes on more so how they're interacting together and how their energy is and how excited, our clients seem to be when they're meeting with each individual. And that's how I assess it. And, that's how I learned to assess things at Assistantly. That's why I call it speed dating, because we're bringing them in and it's really your time to shine for like 10 to 15 minutes. And it's really fun to see, the partnerships and relationships like begin from there, and then to look back months later and ask how everything's going, and knowing that it's going well, like to know that you were there for the first moments of that working relationship and seeing all that's prospered since then is so fun.
Yeah, because I think what's interesting is like sometimes like when you're in a meet and greet session and you're like, let's say you're presenting 3 candidates, and let's say it's like Kate, Jack, and Johnny, right? And then like they're interviewing, and then like you're like, man, that was such a good session with Kate, and like you can feel it, and you're like, and you like consult the client and you go like, I mean, we all know the obvious here, like you and Kate were like jamming for like 30 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever it is, like. She's like a total no-brainer, because like you also want to make it where like when you are picking through like your candidates that you're like, it's like, yes, it's a good skills fit that they know how to do the job. Yes, it's a good like culture fit, but like also a good personality fit, because like you're working with this person all the time. So like you actually like want to have like enjoy interacting with them and communicating with them and like building a relationship and getting to know them on a personal level, like not just like a transactional level.
Yeah.
And like I mean, like you probably sat through like a lot of meet and greet sessions where you're like smiling because you're just like, like they're grooving.
Yes. I'm like, yes, and I'm on mute.
Yeah. You're writing notes down and you're just like, you just kind of stop. You're like, all right, well, this is like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And that's cool, because like even to like when we have new client requirements come in, sometimes like our team is like, Judith would be like a great fit. Like this is like a no-brainer. Like Judith would crush it in this role. Like matches AJ's energy or something. Because like that's also fun. It's like look at new requirements and like look at like who we think could be a fit based off people that have like entered our candidate talent pool, or just candidates that have like been endorsed before. And we kind of put like in our heads like quickly like we put like 1 and 1 together, and we were like, oh my god, they would absolutely kill it together. And like I think a lot of times people are like, okay, well your process is really fast, so like if your process is really fast, you probably just take from the pool and like the quality is not that great.
Yes, yeah.
But like it's not just like, and I was like I was watching a video from like a company similar to ours, and they just do Latin America, and they were saying that like it takes us 3 to 4 weeks because we want to make sure that we find the perfect fit for you, and we're not just like speed finding candidates and just like throwing them out there. But like I feel like when you're like really good at what you do, especially like when it comes down to like our type of industry, like speed just kind of comes naturally, but like we never skimp out on quality. And like I couldn't imagine for like an executive assistant type role, especially for like, because we've done it hundreds of times, like why that would take 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Like we know what criteria to look for. We know what like the client's looking for. We've had like thousands of candidates like apply for positions. Like why would that take 3 to 4 weeks to do?
Yeah.
And I feel like too, people also come to us because of speed. Like not that we're like purposely saying like it's got to be done in like 1 day or 2 days, but like when people hire, they needed that person yesterday. So like I feel like, can you imagine with a lot of our requirements, if we said, hey, it's gonna take 4 weeks, then they're gonna email back and be like, actually, we're gonna go somewhere else. Like even like that client today that was like, hey, like I'm super excited, Nancy, like I would love candidates as soon as possible. Like, can you imagine being like, well, it's gonna take another 3 weeks? She'd be like,
I can't imagine.
That's too long.
Yeah, and also I feel it just continues to set them back, and so the environment in which the talent is coming in is even worse than it was when they initially were looking for someone. And so I feel like that speed, in addition to, and when you said we never, quality is always there, I think that our almost consultation process, that the amount of support that we provide and just all of the resources that we can leverage in addition to the speed, it's like, it's a no-brainer. In under 2 weeks, like here's your training. And
like we use like, obviously like we have great recruiters, and we use like different assessments that we like, of course, give skills-based assessments. But like we can't just like, I think what like a lot of what our industry is turning into is like artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Like we got AI, and it's like, okay, but one, like AI can't make the decision for you. Like it just legally, you can't just, it could help guide, but it can't, like you can't just say AI presented these three, so like these are the three that you're going to pick. It's just more of
Yeah.
like a guidance. But two, like we can give AI assessments just to like understand the candidate or understand the profile, but like every like candidate or anybody in our talent, like they need to be like there needs to be some sort of human interaction.
Yeah.
Because like we can't just rely behind the screen and be like, oh, this report told us this person is a junior level. No, thank you, right? Like there's so
Yeah.
much more behind that person that we don't know because we never got on the phone. Like you have to get on the phone 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes of just like getting to know somebody to assess those soft skills,
Yes.
not just the hard skills and if they could do the job.
Yeah, and going off of that too, like I just experienced this bringing on our record client, our record subscription, and at the end of it, it was so crazy because, you know, and personally with the assessments, I almost never look at them unless, I mean, I'm going to backtrack that. I do look at them, but I almost never, I look for greens and reds. Like I look for mid-level, senior level, and initially, but then I never really go through the actual intricacies of the details until we're in the meet and greet session and I am seeing this interaction happen live, and I can tell by the interaction that it's going to be a really hard decision between 2 or 3 candidates because they're all so great. And that's when you really need to get down into the nitty-gritty and consult with, you know, the client on, okay, well, this person is really strong in this area, whereas this person wasn't as strong. How important is that to you?
Definitely.
And, you know, with this record subscription that we just closed, it was so funny because we initially, the client wanted to hire, or the client wanted to interview with, we'll just call him Candidate A. And Candidate A, they said, hey, we want to meet with Candidate A. And 2 minutes before the Zoom call, they email me and they're like, hey, so sorry, we meant Candidate B. And I was like, well, it's too late, buddy. Like, we're hopping on with Candidate A right now, and we're going to see how it goes. And the Zoom call was so good. It could have gone longer if I didn't, you know, have a hard stop. And they really liked him, and they were like, okay, well, we want to give Candidate B a go because that's who we initially wanted to meet with. He's stronger on paper. Like, he's going to be good. So funny. The entire experience was just not as strong. You know, I mean, we were able to identify a couple flags, and they were so happy that they went with Candidate A. So you never know what can happen when you hop on a meet and greet.
Or just like another client example is like there was a person that signed up for a new requirement that goes, they have to take this assessment, or like I'm just not going to interview them, or just like I'm just like looking at their profile, I'm just not going to interview them until I find the perfect profile. But I'm like, well, if we present you 10 people, you're telling me out of all those 10 people, like you don't want to like get to know any of them. And like I think that's like a big problem is like sometimes like when we present you candidates, it's not like we're just trying to provide you like 3 options and
yeah, we're not picking out of a hat.
Yeah, it's not like just randomized,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
We're
yeah.
just saying like these are the 3 best options for this position. Like we encourage you meet with 2 or 3. That way you can like compare. And like then like there's always that case where somebody like just like surprises you.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, like my front runner was Kate, but like man, Jackie like blew my head off. Like I want to go with Jackie.
Yeah.
Which I think that's like always fun. This kind of goes hand in hand. So this is perfect. This kind of goes hand in hand with the funny.
Okay.
Okay, so funny moment with Assistantly. I don't know if I would say funny, but like Assistantly was originally I don't know if you know this. Assistantly was originally started for just real estate people.
I remember this.
Because like during 2020, as you know, it was like booming and interest rates were low and like prices were high and listings were just going like crazy. So like it was booming. Like that was always the goal. And then like I would say like I'm super thankful that like we have served like tons of people in real estate, but like that we also expanded, because I'll never forget when somebody not from real estate was like, hey, can you help me out? And instead of me saying like no, I was like, yeah, we've done that plenty of times. Like we've helped your industry and we've helped this position is like a big tech company, the big tech company that we work with. And I just completely just like said yes. And then like they came on board and it worked really well. And then they referred somebody in like CBD. And I was like, shit, we went from like real estate to tech to CBD. Then we got into law. And I was like, oh man, all our marketing and stuff and messaging is like for real estate.
Yeah.
But like, this is really fun. Like a lot of these businesses are like really cool that we're helping out. So then like we completely like pivoted to like helping kind of like every type of industry, which I thought was funny because like that was like never the goal or plan. Like I was just like the purpose was just to service the real estate industry. And like obviously, as you know, a lot of our clients are still real estate, but like we still service like a lot of just like agencies or tech or law or whatever it might, or finance. And it's like funny to see like the way that evolved because like I used to say like yes to everything. Like people would come and be like, yeah, we could do that role. Like, yeah, we could, like, yeah, we've worked with your industry, and just kind of like fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And it like end up working out where we like didn't get burned, which is great because we work with a lot of different industries. But like one of the biggest learning lessons was like, and you probably know this, is like not saying yes to everything. Because a lot of people will just be like, yes, yes, yes. Oh, we've done that. Yes. Pricing, great. And then like, then you start, that's when you burn yourself.
Yeah.
And like, what's interesting is like, you know, we used to do like everything, admin, operations, marketing, sales, website engineering, software engineering, like anything. And like our messaging became like more and more unclear of like what we specialized in and like who we served. And like, you know, like we used to do sales and we used to find good people, but like what I noticed with sales is like sales is high churn because people have super high expectations and like, where are my 5 appointments? And I haven't generated any ROI this month. And I'm like, well, it takes some time, you know, you gotta follow up and nurture, and this person needs to get used to like what you do. So like I would say like one of the biggest learning lessons is like, one, not saying yes to everything, being like super clear of like what we specialize in. And like that's why we literally have those 4 buckets of like we only do admin, ops, marketing, and customer support or client support. And anything outside of that we don't touch. Sure, I mean we could go find them, but like it's just not worth the headache. Like stay in your expertise and like what we're good at. Because like I've noticed like 2 things. One, we're really good at finding those positions. Like we've done it multiple, like ton of times, a lot. And 2, they're like higher retention, longer term partnerships. Because like when you hire an executive assistant, you need that right hand person for like a super, like you need that person. Like it's hard to remove that person.
Yeah, second brain.
Where like if you hire somebody in sales, you're like judging them off like metrics and numbers. And it's like if they don't give you like a ROI pretty quick, then you're like, I gotta turn this person off, or like I gotta get rid of this person. And like I want us to have long-term relationships, not like short-term projects or contract-based work.
Yeah.
And I think like that's where it gets like the gray area where like people hire like web engineers or software engineers or like salespeople, because like those are like either results oriented or deliverable oriented, and they just kind of like churn and burn. And like I didn't think that was fair for our talent either, because like I want them to be with their client for a very long time, and I want that client to grow. And then like I wanted to ask you, like, what is your favorite part about working with Assistantly?
My favorite part is definitely, I mean, we kind of touched on it earlier, but it's giving, and this was, you know, I worked in a role very similar to this, and oddly enough, I actually spoke to one of the agents that I worked very closely with during that time at Keller Williams, and my role there was, I was like the yes girl, but I was the go-to. Like, I ran circles around the office when it came to what the agents needed, what the meeting was going to be about, which event was coming up this week, how we were going to be training on social media, like all of these different things where I got to, you know, sit down with the agents one-on-one every single day. But the tricky part about that with that role was I would sit down with the agents, but then it was also on me to execute, you know?
Totally.
And this is where when I started with Assistantly, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a gold mine, because this is so similar to my last role at KW, but I don't have to be the one that's doing it all. Like
Yeah.
I get to hear their pain points. I get to, listen to them and see the way that they operate their business and what their goals are and, what their ideas are and form these, new strategies. But I'm not the one that has to actually carry it out every day. Like I have, this team to help me, and we all work together in making this happen. But then we get to connect our client with, their ideal working with the unicorn. And we get to create and foster these working relationships where, my favorite part is just being able to sit down, strategize, just hang out with them and talk to them. And, the absolute best part is leaving a call, whether it's a strategy call, a problem call, a unicorn hangout, whatever it is. I love, consulting with our clients and having them leave the call feeling so much better. Like their business is going to be okay.
Definitely.
Because a lot of times they come to us and they're like, everything is not okay. The sky is falling.
Panic.
And I don't know what to do. And I'm like, you literally need these 2 platforms and this is what you need to do. I'm going to plug it into ChatGPT, give you a training manual, and you're done. Bye. It's literally like, it's so wonderful and it's so cool because then I check in with them 2 weeks later and, they're like, everything's rocking.
Yeah, everything's good.
Like we're so good. Everything's so, rainbows and unicorns, and that's like the whole purpose of all of this. So that's my favorite part about working with Assistantly and to our team. Like it's so much fun and we all have so many ideas, and I think we're all, whether you're introverted or not, I think that the environment and the culture that we've created is very fun and supportive. And when we all come together in our boardroom meetings, it really shows. And everyone's just dying to like give their input and their idea, whatever the topic is that we're discussing. And boardroom meetings are where it's at. It's so fun.
Yeah, ideas were flowing.
Yeah.
I think everybody like jumps on top of like somebody will like, I'll toss out like a suggestion or idea or like map something out, then everybody will be like all over it. And then like somebody else will map out like an idea and then we'll be all over it. And then we'll be like, holy shit, that took like an hour and a half.
Yeah. For
like,
topic number one.
And then we go, okay, like everybody go back to meetings, and then we'll come back and then like just go all over again. But like they're super like insightful and like, because it's like essentially designed for our team to like, everybody could just like toss what's out there. If there's anything that we can do to like improve, any ideas, if there's like a vision that like somebody has that like we can essentially put into motion. But like I think that the acronym that was created, I think really like showcases like how we function and like especially like our leadership team. And I created a 4-letter acronym. It's called EPIC. And like I think it really kind of helps with the way we like think and go about like our like kind of daily types of like jobs and roles and responsibilities. And it stands for like the E stands for excellence, which like we obviously talked about, and it's like not being perfect. Like I don't expect everybody to be perfect, but like I expect people to go like above and beyond with like our clients and our talent and our candidates. So like they feel like warm and excited and like, wow, like they care about my son's graduation, or like, oh, like, they know I just had a kid, and like that's like super cool. The P is persistent or persistence. And like that's really important in all the roles, because like whether it's like talking with the prospect, like you got to be persistent and give like value and follow up, or like a candidate or our talent. And like, if we just do it once and like we like forget it, it's just like never going to get done, and like there's no value from it. But if we're like consistently like persistent with like doing things, I think we like reach our goals a lot faster. I is like where I really think like our boardroom meetings are like really magical, because like I is initiative, and like there's a lot of people that are taking like initiative and saying like, we should do this, and have we thought about this, and like, how can we explore this, and I saw this somewhere, and like that's really cool. Like they'll take initiative and be like, here's what I drew out, or like here's my doc, like what does everybody think? And like that's really fun. Like I love people that take like initiative instead of just like me saying like, go do this. Just like they're like, what do we think if we do this? And it's like, oh, then everybody gets to kind of like reflect on it. and the C is like obviously like what everybody, just anybody really struggles with, and like that's consistency. Because like, you know, we always like, you know, we don't want to have like a client go through like a really good experience like with their first hire, and like not great with their second hire, or like one client to have a really good experience and another client not to. Or same thing with our talent and our candidates or like our internal team. And it's just like I'm always like cadence and consistency, because like I want us to be as consistent as possible, so like people like want to come back because they go, wow. I mean, I've been there 3 times, and like it's like eating at a restaurant, right? It's like I've been in this restaurant 3 times, and the food's good, the service is good, and like I come back, and it's like every time it's like that, and like that's how regulars, you know, like as you were like
Locals.
a server, or like locals would be like, I want to sit at Megan's table, because like Megan is going to take care of me, and like I know she like knows what I like, and it's like really easy, and like I think with that like 4-letter acronym, like that's what we're really trying to create with like. Not just our internal team, but like I also express it to our external team with like the way they work with our clients, and like it's like a way to differentiate yourself from like everybody else. Is like it just happened to spell epic. At first it spelled pie, and then I was like, like
Pie,
yeah, because it was. I was like trying to. It was persistence, initiative, and then excellence. But then I was like, that kind of sounds weird. So then I was like, I got to add one more to it. So then I was like pice. But I'm like that. Then I put in ChatGPT. I'm like, take these 4 letters and create words, and it was like epic, and I was like, oh, that's like super applicable, like be epic, like that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I mean, like we have those boardroom meetings every Thursday, and then like team meetings every Monday, and like obviously I don't like to have a lot of meetings, but at least it gives us like a weekly space to just like toss all our shit and
it's
like just
so
like
valuable.
organize it in like different departments, recruiting, marketing, client success, so like just different vision, and then like it kind of be fleshed out, and then everybody gets like super excited and like fueled up. So
yeah, and to watch things come into fruition from them is so cool.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so much fun. The best part.